Let's talk more about what's going on in Kenya now with Dr. Debisi Araba. Dr. Debisi Araba is a visiting research fellow, Imperial College London, but currently in Nairobi. Dr. Araba, good afternoon and thank you for your time.
Hi, Ini. It's a pleasure being here.
So you are in Kenya. You've been there for a bit. Tell us if there's been change. We've been hearing, the Kenyan shilling is surging, is adding value, and inflation is tapering and all of that. What is the feel generally as a resident over there in Nairobi? Would you say purchasing power and, prices?
Yeah, Ini. Well, I would say the currency held steady at somewhere around 100 shillings to the dollar for a fair bit, and the fall, which is sort of the increase in the rate of depreciation, really kicked off around February 2020 at the onset of the global pandemic. It peaked in January this year at a value at, I think, 163 shillings to the dollar, and has come down. So even as you're reporting that the shilling has dropped even further, it's still about it's 20% less than it was in January this year. So maybe cause to celebrate. At least the currency appears to be stabilizing against the dollar. We've also seen in the near term, an announcement by the Kenya Power Corporation, KPLC, that there would be I think it's about a 14% reduction in the price we pay for power in Kenya. So at least I think, I can't speak for other sectors, but there will be that lag between the currency strengthening against the dollar and how we see a reduction in prices of goods and services in the country.
Yeah, so let's speak to a sector that you are more comfortable with, which is the agriculture sector and its contribution. We know that for Kenya, tea, is a major one for them. But I saw reports saying that tea companies have agreed to slow mechanization after Kenya protest. In Nigeria, we're looking for how to increase mechanization. Help us to understand the scenario.
Yeah, thanks, Ini. There's a bit of context and background to this. So first of all, tea is the biggest commodity that Kenya exports. It's worth the export value is over $1 billion a year to the country. It's about $1.2 billion to the Kenyan economy, followed by cut flowers and then coffee. Now, with the tea growers last year, there were reports of making the rounds of human rights issues in the tea plantations that supply the global tea companies that you are all familiar with: Tetley, PG Tips, Lipton, to name a few. But the farms or the farm plantations that supply these global brands with the tea leaves. Kenya is famous for the high quality of our tea here, and significant human rights abuses that warranted government intervention, significant investigations, etc. So this bleeds into the conversation around the introduction of mechanization that threatens to reduce the number of jobs or manual labor available on these plantations. So there's been an agreement to temporarily halt the introduction of the mechanization equipment to secure the jobs, while the negotiations between the laborers, the farmers, and the plantation owners continue. So it's less of a technology debate. It's more about jobs that bleeds into the human rights case from last year. So we will see. I mean, just as the world advances in all spheres, we will see the introduction of modern technologies introduced into the tea value chains in Kenya. The question is, what will the government of Kenya do to secure good quality dignified jobs for people in rural areas, and people who potentially could be left out of work as a result of the introduction of the mechanization equipment.
Yeah, well, I guess every country on the continent with its own customized challenge to handle. But thank you so much, Dr. Debisi Araba, for your time this afternoon.
My pleasure, Amy. Thank you.